Hello everyone, this is Unraveled, or Rap for short, and in this video we are going to be examining the maps of the Hisui region and the Sinnoh region, but mainly my goal for this video is to break down the parts of the map of what will eventually come to be in the Sinnoh region. We don't know exactly how long, we don't exactly know the amount of time that passes between Legends Arceus and the Sinnoh region, but if you look at these maps, there is quite a big difference between the two of them. I would say that the Hisui region map is a more artistic approach to it. It's supposed to be beautiful, not exact, whereas this map from Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is more exact and precise, and it's meant to give you information and beauty at the same time. In this case, it's not a simple map. Anyways, there are 3 places that we can mark off right away, but before I get into that, in order to make this easier for myself for finding other areas, I went through both maps and I marked out all the rivers and bodies of water in red and all the mountains with a blue line. And I did the same thing on this other map as well, just so that way I could more accurately compare the 2 maps together. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what exactly is supposed to be what, so by doing this it allowed me to just get a sense of scale for the map. I'm not going to be leaving this on though, because that can get annoying to look at. So the first section that we're going to be looking at are the lakes here. So right here we have the Acuity Verity Lakefront. Sorry, it's hard to remember all their names. So this is the first lake we see in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and the second one that we have is up here. This is the Acuity Lakefront. This is water right around this location here, and this is the island in the center of the lake. And if we come over to this side, we can find the Valor Lakefront. And for some reason there's mist swirling around it. I don't know what the reason for that is, but we can see the island in the center that the Lake Guardian rests in. Okay, next we're gonna go with the easy ones first and build up to the harder ones after that. Up here we have a frosty ice region, and in here we can see the Snow Point Temple, which is pretty easy to give away. And right here we have a tent with the Pearl Clan outside. So this is a pretty sizable distance away from this, but because there's a tent here, I'm assuming that this is the Pearl Clan's like temporary home, I guess, like homestead, and they live in the more frigid region. And right here we can see this blue section. It's the exact same color as the water I checked, and this corresponds directly with this water area here where you get on the ship and head to the battle area. So we can see here, there's the Snow Point City, here's the temple, and we can see in this map, the Hisui region map, it's pretty far away. So like I said, this map is more artistic and the scenery is very different between these. Okay, the next easy one to mark out is obviously going to be Jubilife City. Right here we have this walled section that is Jubilife City, and it most accurately fits right here. We can see Jubilife right here, Canalave is over here. So Jubilife is another easy one we can check off of our list as we slowly map out this region. If we come back to the other side of Mount Coronet, we can find the Solaceon Ruins right here, which would mean somewhere in this area is Solaceon Town, which if we come back to this other map for the Sinnoh region, I'm going to just start calling it Sinnoh and Hisui. Just know that this is the more futuristic map. Right here is the Solaceon Ruins, and here is the river that kind of comes up past Solaceon Town, which we can see that river right here. So this is probably larger than it's actually supposed to be. So Solaceon Town would probably actually be like right here, but we're not so sure about that. But since Solaceon Town is right here, if we look at the Sinnoh map, right up north above Solaceon Town is Celestic City, or Celestic Town. So we can kind of just assume that this Diamond Clan encampment with this banner here is Celestic Town. I know they seem very close on this map, but that's about the best that we could do. So we've got this group of 3 here. Coming up a little bit farther north, we have what seems to be a volcano, which seems to be Stark Mountain. I say seems to be because in the Sinnoh region map, here is Stark Mountain, and there's this more like landmass coming out, which doesn't seem to really exist the same way, which is why I'm saying that this is a more artistic approach. I'm also going to go ahead and just assume, this is a very big assumption, that right over here is Flower Paradise. It doesn't appear in this map over here, but Flower Paradise is up north past Victory Road, so I'm assuming that Flower Paradise is over here. But anyways, coming a little bit further south, we can see the Great Marsh right here, which in the Sinnoh region map, the Great Marsh takes place about this area here. Right here's the Great Marsh. We can see if I turn the water back on, there is lots of rivers and water sources coming through here, which makes sense. A marshy area is full of water. And if we come back to the marsh, we can see that there are lots of pools of water. There's a pretty massive river coming in this area, and there seems to be lots of muddish type things setting out. We also can see some Diamond Clan members in this area. So I just wanted to point this out that somewhere in this section we can find the Great Marsh and Pastoria City. Next is Canalave City. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, I watched a lot of YouTube videos seeing if anybody had a map that I really liked. And all of them were saying that Jubilife City moved somewhere, and that this Jubilife City that we see here is now Canalave. That is completely wrong, based on what I've seen. So Canalave City is right here, and I'll explain that real quick. Essentially, we have a river coming right through here. We can see a little bridge here as well. So we've got a river and we've got some mountains, and here we have a little tiny pier with a building sticking out on it. And what I'm assuming is that eventually Canalave got so big and this river over time eroded to become a wider river, which happens in our world as well. If we come all the way over here, zoom into Jubilife City and Canalave City, we can see that, yes, there is a river between Jubilife City and Canalave City, meaning that this river got wider and the city split in two. But also, I just want to mention, Jubilife Village has a wall around it, and this appears to be their farmland. And if we come over here, we can see that there is a massive area here where the Shellos is, where boats could easily come in and out. It's just a nice little cove area. And if we look back at this map over here, we can see this cove-ish area here, and there are some mountains here that don't appear here because there's a cloud in the way. However, right down here in the corner, we can see the end of the mountains. So basically, I'm assuming they're closer in the map because at one point they were close, and then the river got too wide, and Canalave became its own city, and Jubilife became its own city. Next, we're starting to get into the more difficult placement of things. So we'll start with Orebur City. In the regular Sinnoh region map, Orebur City is nestled in a large group of mountains here. Let's go ahead and turn off this mountain range, blue line. You can see here there's a big mountain. We go from Jubilife through a mountain to get to Orebur. So I'm assuming that Orebur was eventually mined out as a crater, but we can see here on this map, let's go ahead and get rid of these rivers and mountains, there isn't a section for Orebur City, unless you count here. However, this entire area is confusing because this mountain range is divided, and that does not exist in this Sinnoh region map. We can see that it is one mountain all the way down. And I know that this is another section of mountain, but unless something crazy happened, this mountain range should not be coming all the way this far from here. So I'm going to just go ahead and say my first instinct was that this was Hearthome City because of the ruins, but I'll get more into Hearthome later. This area, I think, is a little too far away to be Orebur City. I think Orebur City is right here. It's very close to Jubilife City. It's nestled in a mountain range. I'm not saying it's exactly right in this section. I'm saying it's somewhere around here. Maybe it's in this section of trees. I'm not sure. But Orebur City, I think, is right here. Sunyshore is a little bit easier than Orebur. If we come over here and we go ahead and reveal where I think Sunyshore is, I think Sunyshore is on this mountaintop right here. If we look back at the Sinnoh region map, we can see that there are some mountainous regions around Sunyshore, and some of them are even built on clefts of rock, like the city is slowly sinking into the sea. We can also see this beach area here. But I think Sunyshore City is here, and you're probably wondering what this crescent shape is and why I think Sunyshore is here. There's no mountainous region over here, so I think this section of this area eventually breaks away and gets submerged in water. And if Sunyshore is here, that would mean that Victory Road is right over here, directly across from it. The reason why I am assuming Victory Road is here and not here, like I've seen some people assume, the mountain region gets very thin down in this section, and if we come up from here, we see lots of rocky areas coming up from Sunyshore to Victory Road. And we see that Victory Road also kind of goes off. It's a big mountain section, and there's a little bit more mountains out to the end of the island. So what I think happened, as this section became more submerged, this more thin section of the mountainside here also broke away, and maybe Stark Mountain exploded again between the course of when Hisui became Sinnoh, and it completely changed this section of land. But the reason why I'm putting Victory Road here is because if this is where the path takes you to Flower Paradise, it's close enough that it would make sense. Also, if we come to this map here, and if we were to, let's just go ahead and grab a marker real quick, and we will just draw this out real quick in blue. If we were to take this and draw, let's not use blue, let's use red or something. Red sounds nice. If we were to draw a shape here and connect where I'm assuming this area went and come all the way around through Veilstone, we can see this kind of crescent shape that is taking place right here, and it's completely surrounded by mountains. So it kind of fits my theory that Veilstone and Victory Road are there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, next is Veilstone City. If Victory Road is here, Veilstone City would be here, in this little area on the other side of the mountains. If we check back on my map here, we can see here is Victory Road. Across the mountain range, there's a little thin place, mountains on either side of it, where Veilstone fits in perfectly right here. So that's where I believe Veilstone City comes. And now we get to the more difficult section of finding out where places are supposed to be. Next is Eterna Forest. Now, if you remember, Eterna Forest is here on the map. Let's go ahead and draw that real quick. This whole section is technically Eterna Forest. That is too thick. Let's lower the thickness down to maybe, there we go, that sounds good. This whole section here is forest area. And, oh wait, I need to do a little bit more. Technically there's forest all through here, which I'm assuming would eventually become Eterna Forest, which at first, if you look at this map, there's no forest here. But if you zoom in a little bit, you can see some pine trees here, which in the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl art style, most of the trees in Eterna Forest I think are evergreen trees. So we can kind of just assume that this entire area is Eterna Forest here, which would mean that somewhere off over into this clearing here would be Eterna City, and somewhere down here would be Floraroma Town. I have it up here. Floraroma would probably be closer to being down here, but just to prove to you that I'm not crazy, here is what the water looks like from Floraroma Town, Eterna Forest, and Eterna City. Right here, there's like a little bridge thing to cross the water, and if we come over here, we can see right here, there's a little bridge that you can use to cross the river and go further up. They don't look exactly the same, but like I said, this is a more artistic rendition of the map. If anything, we could probably move Floaroma Town further down, but I'm leaving it up here for now. And now to the most difficult portion of figuring out what goes where on this map. Twinleaf Town and Sangem Town. So we've got the Verity Lakefront here. And if you remember from playing through the Diamond and Pearl, or the newer Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl games, Twinleaf Town is somewhere south of Verity Lakefront. And this is where I'm going to put it. There's not really a good place to put it on this map. And in fact, if we were to zoom in, let me go ahead and reveal where Sangem Town should be first. If Twinleaf Town is here, I think Sangem Town should be here. And my reasoning is that there's like a beachy area here. And now let's go ahead and get into why I think Twinleaf Town is here and Sangem Town is here. The first reason is that we can see a path leading over to Jubilife, which would mean that this is the route past Sangem Town somewhere, meaning Twinleaf Town has to be here. Now we can zoom in a little bit further. So this is a different map that has been released of the Obsidian Fieldlands from a more zoomed out view. Here we can see that in the Obsidian Fieldlands we have Jubilife City and what I think will eventually become Canalave City right here. We have the lakefront, and we have an island here and another island. In the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl map, we see that there is a broken bunch of rocks. We also see a small island here on the Hisui region map. So I'm assuming that eventually this landmass breaks apart. It's no longer an island, but just a bunch of rocks floating up, sticking out of the water. So I think Sangem Town is on here, and as the water changes in the region, it eventually no longer is covered by water. Because if we look here and I bring up my map with all the water, we can see Sangem Town has no water anywhere near it anymore. But anyways, we can zoom in just a little bit farther with this map here. This is a more zoomed in version of the map of the last one we just looked at. Here we can see the lakefront, and I'm going to actually, I'm going to draw on this one. So here we have the lakefront. And here's the island in the center. And we can see a little path coming out of these mountainous areas here. Now in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, this is a forest that you walk through. So these games are going to be drastically different with what we can see in them. Anyways, here's that island that I said is probably going to be broken up, which would mean Twinleaf Town is going to be somewhere over here, where I put this X. And then if we were to follow, let's change to blue, this area, we would come up this way, and Sangem Town, I think, would be somewhere over here. Let's go ahead and switch back to red. Sangem Town, I think, is going to be somewhere in this area. Maybe it'll be, that is the wrong thing. Let's click here. Let's change my tool back. I think Sangem Town will be somewhere here. Because we can also, if we zoom in, we can see that little bridge that would take us out. And up this way is Jubilife Village. There's a little path that goes up through here, and this is where we enter back into Jubilife City. One more thing I want to point out that kind of supports this theory. Right here, we see the Grand Tree Arena, the Heartwood. It's talking about a tree, which we can see right here. But this begs the question, if this is Sangem Town, and this is Twinleaf Town, what is this tree? And my only answer is that I think this is what later becomes Romanus Park. That being said, because if we leave Sangem Town the normal way, we find this broken island. Then we go right, and we can find Romanus Park here. Which would mean that in the Hisui region, if we were to come down here towards this, and then go right, we would be in Romanus Park. You could argue you could go further south, but there's no island here that I can see of that would turn into rocks, unless this whole mountain range turns to rocks, and you come this way for Romanus Park, but I honestly don't know what this section of the map is supposed to represent. Like, if Solaceon Town is here, Hearthome is supposed to be on the other side of the region. As we can see, Hearthome is on the immediate other side of Mount Coronet. It's actually on the opposite side of the massive peak of Mount Coronet, this being the topmost part right here. So in this version of this map, Hearthome, I think, is somewhere behind Mount Coronet. We can't see it. So that's why I don't know what this is. These ruins made me think Hearthome City, but I just don't know what this entire section of the map here is supposed to represent. It doesn't exist in the other maps of the game, so it's a new region or a new area that we haven't found. I guess the last thing we can talk about is Full Moon Island, Iron Island, and New Moon Island. If we look up here on the map, here is Iron Island, here is Full Moon Island. This area is completely covered in a cloud, so I'm assuming that this is New Moon Island. Full Moon Island and New Moon Island. It doesn't show New Moon Island here, but in the Diamond and Pearl games, it was right here. This is Full Moon Island, so I'm assuming that it still exists here in this game. Now, the reason why I'm putting Iron Island here is there's no island out here that could even possibly become close to being Iron Island. However, if we look here, Iron Island is positioned extremely close to Eterna Forest. Let's go ahead and get rid of some of these lines. We can see here that there's a water, something happened that made it become its own separate island. If we look at this map on the Hisui region, we can see there are trees, and then no trees. So essentially, something happened causing Iron Island to break away from the mainland. Maybe global warming? We're not sure. Anyways, so if we zoom out of our map real quick, I went ahead and marked out where I think specific territories are based on placements that I've found. So let's go ahead and go through that real quick. Right here, I went ahead and added a color coding to Canalab City where I think Canalab City is. Let's go ahead and make this just a little bit brighter. Let's maybe go up to right here. So here's Canalab City. Here's Jubilife City. Here's the Verity Lakefront. Here's Twin Leaf Town. Once again, don't know the exact position. Here's where I think Sanjum Town is. Here's where I think Romanus Park is. Orbor City, like I said, don't really know where that is. That's a guess. This purple area is Floraroma Town, Eterna Forest, Eterna City. Here's Iron Island. I didn't do anything with Full Moon Island and New Moon Island because there's a cloud there. This whole green area up here is what eventually becomes this frozen tundra-like area here in the Sinnoh region. Zooming out of the map a little bit. We can come over to the other side of the region. Like I said, I don't know what this area is. I might color it in and add a question mark. But here is the Great Marsh or Pastoria City. They're somewhere in here. The Salacian Ruins, which would also mean Salacian Town. Here's the Valor Lakefront. Here's Celestic Town. There's Veilstone City. Here's Stark Mountain, Victory Road. I made Sunny Shore dark because in the future there is power problems. And up here is Flower Paradise. So I think this is where everything would appear. Let's go ahead and change the view real quick to back to normal. Let's go ahead and zoom the image and window. So based on my previous assumption, this is where I think everything would go. But as we saw in some of these other maps, once you zoom in far enough, they are not going to look anything like the Sinnoh region that we've already discovered and explored. So even though we can make a map and try to guess where these places go, it's going to be really difficult. It's not going to be one-to-one. We don't know how much time has passed between the two, when Pokemon Legends Arceus takes place and when Shining Pearl, Brilliant Diamond take place, or Platinum, Diamond, and Pearl for that matter. So this is all just speculation, guesswork. But what do you think? Am I right? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.